Hi, it's Katy Mackenzie, mortgage professional with TMG The Mortgage Group and your host of I Love Vancouver Real Estate. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today. It's my pleasure to be here today with Linda Chu of Out of Chaos, a customized home and office solution provider. Out of Chaos, Customized Home and Office Solutions is a professional organizing company based in Vancouver. They help residential and corporate clients throughout the Lower Mainland get organized for good by building habits that they can easily sustain for a lifetime. Founded by professional organizer Linda herself, Out of Chaos offers comprehensive professional organizing services for home and office, plus training programs, workshops, and tools for more organized living and working. She comes from a strong background of over 20 years in the hospitality industry, where she managed people and processes at first-class hotels and became an expert in maximizing productivity. This experience, combined with her client-focused, non-judgmental approach and proven effective systems, allows the Out of Chaos team to deliver highly effective, customized organizing solutions. She's the founder of the BC chapter of the Professional Organizers in Canada, and when she's not delivering professional organizing services, she shares her office and home organization tips regularly in workshops, seminars, various media appearances, including CityTV's Breakfast Television, CBC Radio's BC Almanac, the Globe and Mail, Chatelaine Magazine, and the I Love Vancouver Real Estate podcast. Linda, welcome.
Thank you, Katy, for having me.
I hope the intro did you service.
Thank you. Very kind.
Yeah, you've had a wealth of experience and knowledge. And, again, thank you for taking the time today. So where should we start?
Well, often the biggest challenge people have, they know they need assistance, but they're afraid to pick up the phone. And when you talk about judgment earlier, that is the first thing, is people are so afraid of, what is she going to think? Oh my gosh, I am so embarrassed. Mm-hmm. Number one, getting over that. And secondly is, where do you begin? People are so overwhelmed, they just don't even know. They walk into the room and they just want to slam the door shut and run. So not knowing where to begin is the biggest hurdle that people have.
So what services do you provide, or what do most people reach out and ask for your help or assistance with?
There are just several arenas that we work in, and as you mentioned, both in the home and the office arena. So in the home arena, more often than not, people just have a lot of stuff. They're accumulated through life, family, circumstances, death, divorce, you name it all. So it's having more stuff than the four walls around them can allow. And then when things are no longer working and it's congested, they need help. Mm-hmm. So that's where I will come in and help them organize, going through the editing process. I go through a 5-step process that take people step by step in terms of what to do, how to do it, and then how to disperse all of those items, because half the battle is, well, where does it go? Yes. Once I decide I no longer need it anymore. So that's on the home side. And within the home arena also is, as I mentioned, there's the 4 Ds. There's death, there's divorce, there's downsize, there's disability, and everything in between. When things happen in life, it often causes a shift of living environment. So often people find that they have to move out of their current situation because of all of those circumstances. So that's where our move management services come in. So we will help provide everything from the editing, the packing, coordinating the whole move, be project managers, so to speak, and then on the other side to receive the items in their new home. It could be all the way down to a senior care home if that's the case, and to do the unpack and get you out of boxes. Moving is one thing, living in and out of boxes for months and months is the other arena. Mm-hmm. So to do the whole unpack and the setup, so sort of a seamless door-to-door approach.
Fantastic.
And then lastly, in the corporate side, in the workplace, whether you're self-employed or in a commercial environment, it's the managing of the time, all the emails, it's just that whole productivity or lack of productivity that people have, and then we get called in as well for those types of systems.
I imagine for some people too, for myself, your home and your office spaces can also be one and the same.
Yeah, it's finding the home in home office. often. So it's that gray area where you don't have a door that you shut at 5 o'clock, if that's the case. And it's like, bye-bye, I'm gone now.
Yeah.
So then it's trying to find that balance where your coffee table is your desk, and then you're spread out on the couch or the kitchen table, and you don't have gone are the days of administrative assistants and secretaries. So learning for yourself those systems again. What are the systems that you need in terms of managing your information?
Now, you spoke to a 5-step process. So what is that process?
So I use the acronym CLEAR. So when people are so overwhelmed and they don't know where to begin, we take them through the process of clearing the space and using the acronym CLEAR. C is for categorizing everything that they have. L is to limit what they have in their home, which is what their objective is. E is always looking at evaluating what your objective is. Without a goal, there's no plan that's going to take you there. A is around looking at how to allocate homes and spaces for what you have and need. So it's for ease of access. And then lastly, the removal. R is for removal. So all those items that you have edited out of your home or your workspace, is it for recycling? Is it donation? Is it charity? Are there items that you can sell? So there's a lot of decisions that people trip over, and that's where they get overwhelmed, is just not knowing at any step of that process what to do.
I would think there'd be a challenge for some at the beginning stage if you're sort of a borderline to a hoarding stage. And as you go through those stages, I don't want to remove this because I have an attachment to it or a memory or a moment of, and that's where I get lost in this process, and the whole thing fails.
Oh, for sure. And that's in that limitation. So when you're limiting items from your space, and that struggle that you mentioned is around the value. So often I help people to determine what value are you attaching to that item that may no longer work in your space anymore. And most people have an emotional attachment and not a usefulness, because when you ask all the questions about how often you've used that item, when was the last time you've touched it, do you even remember you had it? Usually no, and no. But the moment it's like Christmas all over again for a child, you've rediscovered it for the first time in a long time.
So it's shiny
and
again.
All of those emotions come back, all the would've, could've, should've. And it's all the intention that you have placed with that item, and the emotional, well, oh, shoot, I should have done this. I need to do this. I meant to do this. And that's what comes back to kind of haunt you, so to speak. And that's what makes it really difficult. So it's navigating through those emotions that are the key.
I find, and again, I'm totally speaking personally, but the second barrier is then, now you've allocated and these items need to be donated or sold, and I don't have the time to do that. So how do you help there?
Yeah, so we have a lot of auxiliary services that we work with the people that we work with. So it could be removal companies, it could be charities that donate with. The battle then is also, how do you get those items there? So there's removal services that can pick up. There are free services, whether it's Big Brothers, Diabetes Association. Those free pickup services are very limited to household items and clothing. Nothing bigger than a microwave, so to speak. So any pieces of furniture, they won't come to pick up. But even the pickup is on their time. So if you want to use the services for free, they will tell you, we're going to be in your neighborhood in 2 weeks from now, not tomorrow. So that's sort of the challenge in planning for those types of no-cost pickup services. Then it's trying to get items to maybe consignment houses, auction houses, and things like that, where you might be able to recover some of the monies that you spent, not 100%, but it's, whether it's antiques, there might be some valuable luxury items that you have, including clothing. So it's trying to find homes, but again, you still have to organize who's going to deliver it there. So unless you are capable-bodied to get the items into your truck and drive it down to those locations, you're then hiring removal service, a pickup service, and the fees attached to that. To do that, and then and then whether it's auctioned or charity, and then the other area is around the cash side of things. Some people think, well, I can sell this, But then you're navigating the Craigslist and the Kijijis and all of those apps, the Let's Go app and Let It Go app and so forth. But again, it's time to take the photographs, time to monitor all the requests that you get on email. And so time is going to be your friend. The more time you have, the more options you have at your disposal.
Now, what about documents and removal of perhaps confidential documents that you may have gathered, especially if you're downsizing, right? You've lived in one home for a decade or more, and you have all of those items. Let's say if someone has passed away. And
so the confidentiality of documents, if bank accounts and all this stuff are closed, then perhaps in years and years past, perhaps one can think that it can go into the recycling area, even though there's still that level of comfort of knowing that, well, what if? So then you're looking at shredding services. So you may have your in-home purchase from a retail outlet shredder, but depending on the volume, it could burn out your motor so quickly with that. So, one would think that these commercial shredding trucks that come outside are only designated to large mortgage firms or law firms and so forth. But there are household pickup on-site shredding services that are available. The community also has community shredding days as well.
I've seen those at the local high schools.
Exactly, high schools and banks and perhaps some of the community centers, they will announce that they have a shredding day by donation. So the shredding trucks will be out there, and by donations you can bring your items through. They may limit it to so many bags or so forth, but otherwise, even at retailers, stationery stores, in the printing department, they do have a shredding department that you can bring, and they will charge by the box.
Now, I mean, just by your business name alone, that Out of Chaos, I sometimes feel like my home office is chaos because it is a blend of home and office. So what ongoing strategies can you help people with, or systems or processes for once you've created a clean and concise space? What strategies do you help with to keep it that way?
A lot of the times, the first hurdle is dealing with the volume of what you have, information or possessions. And, possessions when it comes to clothing and all that stuff. When it comes to information in your work office or your home office, really looking at delineating really three areas. Items that are active, things that you're using, and these are projects in business that are actively providing income for you. Then there are reference materials. So those are items and information that you need to refer to that may not generate revenue, that you need to refer to as you do business. And then lastly, this whole arena of archives. And archives, I clump into those as seasonal items, like your decor, your memories, and things like that. But archives, and when it comes to paper, the almighty tax guy, they need you to keep your papers. And every industry is different, not your typical 7 years. Some industries are forever. Land use, your records are kept for as long as the property exists with that. So looking at those three categories, that is the first thing that one has to physically do, is separate your active, your reference from your archives. And then it's the personal habit that one has to employ in terms of where do those things reside in your office. Is it on your desk? Is it in your drawer? That out of sight, out of mind is huge for a lot of people. If I don't see it, I'm going to forget to do it, to pay it, to read it. So then maybe it's creating a desktop filing, or what I call a finding system, so that people can find it, so they can trip over, oh yeah, I've got to remember to do that. And there's a lot of mobile apps, and there's a lot of electronics and technology that we can use, but not everyone embraces technology. So it's finding the right physical system that's going to help trigger their memory to do what they need to do in a timely manner. And once it's done, do you have to keep it? And then how long do you need to keep it? Where do you need to keep it? Because as I said, information is power, absolutely. But I'd like to say access to your information is much more powerful. Why keep it if you can't find it? That goes with all our clothes and purses and handbags. we have it all, but if you can't find it to wear it, then really it negates the purpose of even having it, because it takes up your space.
What's the most common questions you get asked?
The most common questions I get asked, it's I call it organizing, giving people permission to let go. So they'll look at something and they're like, oh, that's new. I forgot I had it. And then you remember, oh gosh, I paid this much for it. And then the would have, should have, could have can come in. And then it's giving people permission to say, well, it's okay. You can let it go. And the toughest thing is where. The most common question people ask is, but I hate to sort of let it go and at the landfill, waiting to get covered by dirt. Yeah. So it's that waste that is huge for them. So it's helping people to find homes. And sometimes there might be no home. Sometimes it's like those encyclopedias, certain things, improve with age, as I said.
I think we have a full library of them.
Nobody wants the encyclopedias. At one point, in a timely manner,
I used them as a child, but no.
Now everyone is Google, right? So with that, so the pages inside are recyclable, but not the binding and the cover. So unless you're there ripping out the pages as a strong woman to pull them out, they are destined for the landfill. So some things are timely, and you've left some things way too long, then they're, like I said, time is going to be your friend. You don't have much option sometimes. So
anything else that we should know from you today?
I think the biggest thing is, let's not fix what's not broken. We're all creatures of habit. We like what we like. It's just when you can't find things anymore and you're struggling and you're spending more time looking than finding, that's when you need to make a shift. And sometimes that shift is, ideally to call me if that's the case, but just to sort of really look back at what your intention is. We mentioned earlier in terms of the clear, E for evaluate, is setting yourself a clear goal. What is your goal? What is your end game? If your end game is, I haven't had my family over for dinner for a long time because the dining room is full, or I'm embarrassed to have people over. So if you have an end game of wanting to entertain, wanting to receive people, or wanting to not always be late because you're looking for your keys, if you're very clear and passionate about what you want to achieve, then you're going to set it. You're going to get there. And without that clear goal, it's like, someday maybe I'll get around to it.
I think, too, what you spoke to at the beginning of the podcast, I want to reiterate of, if you feel like you need help, reach out. It's, push through that fear. And we talk about it in almost every one of the podcasts, is that, and the reason why we do the podcast is so that you can hear Linda talk and know that she's welcoming to your calls, even if it's just, you're on the right path.
Or absolutely.
Yes, I can come
information is free. If you need a hand as to what do I do with this? How do I start? Absolutely. Give me a call, send me an email. And, it's getting that accountability for it.
Yes.
When you think about, if you hire a cleaner to come into your home, it's not because you don't know how to wash the towels in your bathroom, your bathtub, but it's because you choose that your time is better spent doing something else with your family, friends. Same with, going to the gym, which, there's a monthly cost to it, or even an hourly cost for a personal trainer. You can run around the seawall for free. It doesn't cost you anything. But again, it's that accountability partner of knowing that I'm not going to do it unless I'm accountable to somebody. And sometimes it's just that little bit of shift that one has to make to set the ball rolling and get momentum going.
Linda, how do people reach you?
My website is outofchaos.ca, and Facebook and Twitter as well, or my telephone number, 604-813-8189.
Well, thank you once again. And
thank you so much, Katie.
Thank you to all of our listeners. I'm sure that we've given you valuable information today, and please do reach out to Linda or myself if you have any questions. And until next time, I'm Katy Mackenzie, a mortgage professional with TMG The Mortgage Group, and your host of I Love Vancouver Real Estate.